All right, what's up, everybody? Again, I apologize for this football show not being on time. That's my bad. Everybody gets a free win or a free loss, depending on how you look at it. Meaning, so if you get it wrong, we take a loss. We take a loss off of you. It doesn't count. Meaning, for example, if you pick this game wrong, well, actually, nobody even picked. Nobody picked. Only one guy picked. Only one guy picked. CV Gunn did. So whatever. It's a wash.
Correct.
This game's a wash. But here's the deal. You have until Sunday before 1 o'clock, Sunday kickoff, to be able to get your picks in. Okay? But anyway. So let's go right on into the news. Defensive tackle Daniels on Packers struggles. Quote, embarrassing. Outspoken defensive tackle Mike Daniels says the Packers need to play, quote, angry and, quote, violent after losing 3 of their past 4 games.
We saw the same thing happen last year. The Packers have trouble for some reason midway through the year. I personally think that there's a lot of different things going on in the NFL. Mainly the fact that these guys they're not in good condition. Not meaning they're in bad condition physically, but throughout the offseason, they're only able to put pads on a certain amount of time. They're only outside a certain amount of hours with the new collective bargaining agreement. And that's why I think you see a lot of injuries happening. That's another why I think there's a lot of flags that have been thrown. These guys don't get to practice as much as they have in the past together as a unit. And a lot of these teams, after the first 8-9 weeks, hit a wall. And I think that Green Bay has hit their wall, the same wall they hit last year. And I can't really tell you what Green Bay's problem is. I mean, their defense is subpar. Their offensive, the offense, Rodgers is still having a decent year. They just can't put a full 4-quarter game together, offense, defense, and special teams. So I think he's right in saying that they're not right. But with that being said, they're still in the thick of things in the NFC North. They're really, and Detroit's in there as well. Minnesota has really fallen off the map, lost 3 in a row. Green Bay is still a good football team. The only reason people think they're not is because they're not living up to expectations with having one of the best quarterbacks and one of the best wide receivers. Their defense is just subpar. But I truly believe that, these guys don't get as much time as a unit to practice and as much physical. They're not as physical as they can be in the past during training camp and getting ready for the season as they have been with the last couple of years with the new CBA. So I still think Green Bay, it will be a playoff team, either winning that division or, God bless you.
Thank you.
Or wild card.
All right, so now we go into Rex heated over Sherman non-call, quote, ridiculous. The NFL will address a bizarre first-half sequence from the Seahawks win against the Bills with the game referee... with the game referee and his crew, a play that led Bills coach Rex Ryan to cascade the officiating.
Well, Richard Sherman...
Keep going.
Richard Sherman is one of the biggest pieces of shit in the NFL, okay? I don't care what anyone says, the whistle blew, he was trying to take that kicker out. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, you gotta look at the history with this guy, okay? He is out of control, and he's a phony. He's just a big phony. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a bunch of garbage. I'm sick of hearing that he's such a great guy because he went to Stanford and all this other stuff. Richard Sherman is a punk, okay? He is everything that I want my, if I ever a boy not to be, okay? He's arrogant, he's loud, he's obnoxious, he complains and bitches and moans and cries and takes cheap shots. This is a player who has so much talent, and you see with all these guys that have so much talent, and they think they can get away with murder, and they try to injure people. When you try to take out people's legs and you say you didn't hear the whistle, that's a bunch of garbage. And the NFL is doing whatever they can. I mean, the officiating crew at that game, it really. I was listening on the radio. They were talking to Mike Pereira, who was, the former vice president of officials before Dean Blandino took over, and he says that crew is going to be either at the worst, the lowest televised game for the next couple of weeks, or not even on the field at all. That's how bad the officiating was that night. So I agree with Rex Ryan. They handled that. They really hurt the Bills, but I think that Richard Sherman just needs to shut up.
Bills center Wood suffers broken leg, out for season. Bills center Eric Wood was taken off the field during Monday night's game in Seattle after suffering a broken right leg in the fourth quarter against the Seahawks.
I remember watching this kid Eric Wood play at Louisville. He's been a veteran center. He's a really good player. He's a smart player. He makes all the calls on the offensive side of the ball. He does a great job in run blocking. He's plays with great leverage, and he's smart and he's athletic. Can make blocks down the field. This is a huge loss for the Bills. This is a huge loss. This is a type of loss. He is in essence the quarterback of that offensive line, and it's going to be a huge loss for the Bills.
Ravens kicker Justin Tucker furious over lack of penalty on MNF. Monday Night Football. Ravens kicker Justin Tucker was less than pleased about the non-call against Richard Sherman near the end of the first half of Monday's game.
I think if you really took a poll and looked at all the people that were watching that game, every player, and I think if they did it honestly, 99% would say it was a cheap shot.
Yep. Jerry on quarterback quandary. Quote, going to play it by ear. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones said Tuesday that when it comes to the Tony Romo-Dak Prescott quarterback decision, he's, quote, never going to have this totally sorted out.
Well, I'll tell you, we talked about this maybe last week or a couple weeks ago. It's the same thing with the Brady and the Bledsoe deal. Dak Prescott is their quarterback, and I can pretty confidently say he's going to be their quarterback for the rest of this year. And for the years going on. I think Tony Romo, this situation should not be looked at on a poor. This is a situation that every team wished they had. A great young quarterback that's playing extremely well. The team is winning games. And to have a backup in Tony Romo, a Pro Bowl quarterback, is they're in unbelievable shape right now. And Tony Romo is a team guy. He's if Jason Garrett comes in and says, we're going with the hot hand, all we're trying to do is win. All Jason Garrett wants to do is win. All the Cowboys players want to do is just win. And right now, Dak Prescott gives them the better chance to win. And Tony Romo adds a great element coming off the bench. God forbid something to happens to Dak Prescott. Now, Jerry Jones has never had a loss for words. I listened to Stephen Jones. He did a phone interview this morning. And from what it sounds like, Romo's healthy. But he's going to continue working with the scout team. And basically, it goes back to the old adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Source:
Fitzpatrick believes he'll play Sunday. Despite a sprained MCL in his left knee, Jets quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick believes he'll be healthy enough to start Sunday against the Rams.
At this point in time, I think you got to let the kid from Baylor play. I can't think of his name right now. The backup quarterback.
Bryce Petty?
Yes. The season's over for the Jets. They may still feel like they have a shot, but it really they don't really have much going on. I know they gave Fitzpatrick a lot of money, and they're going to try to get every penny out of him. This is a perfect time, midway through the year to see what the kid has, see what they have in his future. But if they're going to continue to play Fitzpatrick, we'll see. But I would play the kid.
So you're going to love this. Carroll on Ryan's talk, quote, coach your own guys. Seahawks coach Pete Carroll thinks that Rex Ryan should just coach his own team after Ryan's comments toward Richard Sherman.
Pete Carroll, Pete Carroll is really an asshole. He really is an asshole. This is a guy who's gotten more calls than any team anywhere. And we can go down the list. We can go down with the Monday Night Football game against Green Bay. They got a call there, okay? Let's go back to a couple weeks ago when Richard Sherman wasn't flagged for that pass interference against Julio Jones. They got a call there. Both those calls won them the game, okay? I can't think of any other off the top of my head. But Seattle gets calls. It's okay to come out and say, you know what? As a coach, I need to have a better grasp on my players. What he did was wrong, and we apologize. Instead, he's going to come out and bark back at Rex when Rex was right. I can see why he's doing it to protect his guy, but, Seattle's got to get over. They think the world is against them. They think everyone in the world is against them. They wonder why everyone hates them. Because they get every call in the book, and they go crazy when they don't get their call. And it's really getting to the point where all these guys in Seattle just need to shut the fuck up, including Pete Carroll.
Source, Vikes opt to keep Walsh after tryouts. Despite ongoing struggles with field goals and extra points, Blair Walsh will remain the kicker for the Vikings, a source told ESPN's Adam Schefter.
I mean, this guy, I don't know if damaged goods is the right term for this guy, but, he's clearly missed a lot of field. It's all in his head. He's got the leg stemming back from the kick that he missed to beat Seattle, a chip shot. I think Minnesota's in a lot of trouble all across the board. And, their ship is sinking fast. And Blair Walsh cannot be trusted. I don't know how they can trot him out there. I guess he can't miss. I guess he can't get any worse. So I don't think Blair Walsh is the right fit for Minnesota.
49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick not voting in presidential election. And he didn't. Colin Kaepernick's previously voiced his displeasure with the presidential candidates and said Tuesday he does not intend to vote in the election.
Colin Kaepernick's an idiot, and I don't really want to give him that much time because if you don't vote, you can't say anything because you have a constitutional right to vote every single year. And if you choose not to vote, you can't complain about anything because you didn't vote. So whether you like this side or that side, it doesn't matter. You can't complain about either one. And to pull all the shenanigans that he pulled from day one with the flag and the knee, look at San Francisco, okay? Let's take a step back here. Look at San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, 49ers.
This is the team that 3 years ago was in the Super Bowl, okay? 4 years ago. San Francisco may be the second worst team in the NFL. They are terrible. They're not in any games. And it all started this year with Kaepernick and all this other garbage. He was a complete distraction. And the sad part about this is that they have to give this guy $11 million this year. It's sad. And Colin Kaepernick is really digging his own grave. And I don't feel bad for him.
Wife of Bills kicker goes after Richard Sherman via Twitter. Kayla Carpenter had her say about Richard Sherman's late hit on her husband in Monday night's game. Sherman responded to her tweet Tuesday morning.
I don't. I don't always agree with, I know Giselle's done some stuff like that, and I can see why she's angry, because Richard Sherman could have ended her husband's career, and he will not take responsibility, and I'd be upset too. And unfortunately, that social media is so accessible to everybody and their mother. All you have to do is get on and tweet and say something, and then it's a big controversy. And Richard Sherman's never at a loss for words for anything. But I feel bad for her. I feel bad for the kicker. I feel bad for the fact of the matter that this is such a violent game, and to take a cheap shot when the play was dead is just bad football. It's bad. It's terrible, and I feel bad for his wife.
Chargers Stadium vote fails, opens door to L.A. A City of San Diego ballot measure that would raise hotel taxes to fund a new stadium for the Chargers got just 42.5% of the votes Tuesday, short of the 66.7% needed for approval.
It wasn't even close. Okay, it wasn't even close. San Diego does not have anybody that wants them to stay in San Diego. But guess what? They have nowhere to go. They're not going to LA. I can tell you that right now. That's going to be the Rams and solely the Rams. I don't know where San Diego's going to go, but they better figure something out quick. The better the Raiders play, the quicker they're going to get a stadium built, either in Oakland or in Vegas But San Diego's in a heap of trouble. And San Diego doesn't have a lot of supporters. They're playing in arguably the worst stadium in the NFL. They're in all honesty, they're a fun team to watch, but there's no supporters. They have a terrible head coach. Their organization is run terribly, and this vote wasn't even close. I know it sounds but there was never even a hint of this getting passed. Now, I know, working with the 49ers, how difficult it is to build a stadium in the state of California. I mean, you have to go through every hoop, and you have to get everybody on board. We went out and did door-to-door, and every home in Santa Clara to get these people to vote yes to build a stadium. San Diego, I don't think they have the resources, and I don't think the people care that much. So that's the bottom line.
As you're filming this, Baltimore is up 28-7. They just stripped quarterback of Cleveland. I think they have the ball in Cleveland 30. Cleveland is just so bad.
You took Cleveland though, right?
I would theoretically have taken Cleveland, yes, so I would have lost this. Bengals DC warns players about lineup changes. Bengals defensive coordinator Paul Gunther has vowed to correct the unit's problems by making changes with personnel.
We'll see. The Bengals are such a weird team. They really are. You can't really put a finger on it this year. I mean, they still have Andy Dalton, who's played every game. AJ Green. They have two legit running backs, and they haven't lived up to expectations. Now, they also have some clowns on the defense. I think what he's doing is a good way to fire the team up. I think Cleveland has all the talent in the world, and they just Cincinnati has all the talent in the world. They're just stuck in neutral. They don't have a head coach that can get them to the next level, and they're so inconsistent. But you can never count them out because they have so much talent. I think this is more of a shot at every player, saying, "Look, everyone, I'm willing to use everyone on that 53-man roster if it's going to help us win, and you're not doing your job." Sources:
Romo's availability now up to coaches. Tony Romo's return to the Cowboys is now in the hands of the team's coaching staff. Sources told ESPN on Wednesday.
And I think Jason Garrett will do the right thing and continue to play Dak Prescott.
Big Ben on Cowboys quarterback issue, quote, hard to change. Ben Roethlisberger relates to Dak Prescott's situation with the Cowboys, in part because he became the Steelers starter under similar circumstances in 2004.
Big Ben. Ben Roethlisberger, is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I remember when he came into the league, He played early on, and he went 15-1, I think, on his first year. Coming from a Hall of Famer, I think that he's correct, and I think he'll agree that Dak Prescott is the answer.
Big Ben's message for Steelers plan to keep, quote, multiple guys hitting Ezekiel Elliott. The Steelers know they won't win many one-on-one matchups with the Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott. They must play him 11-on-1.
Blitz, blitz, blitz.
Giants put rookie Thompson on injured reserve. Giants rookie safety Darian Thompson is having surgery on his foot and was placed on injured reserve Wednesday.
Well, that will be quite a bit of a loss for them.
Vikings Zimmer reiterates support for Walsh. Vikings coach Mike Zimmer reiterated his support for kicker Blair Walsh on Wednesday.
Zimmer is losing that team. He lost his offensive coordinator, Norv Turner, who just quit on him. I don't know what that says if he's still backing a bad kicker.
Bucks Winston, quote, not a loser despite 9-15 record. The 3-5 Bucks are, quote, on the right path, said quarterback Jameis Winston, who's in unfamiliar territory with 15 losses as a starter in the NFL.
Yes, they are, but they're still behind where they should be.
Jets place offensive tackle Clady on IR, release defensive end Jenkins. The New York Jets have placed left tackle Ryan Clady on injured reserve with a shoulder injury and activated wide receiver Devin Smith from the physically unable to perform list.
That's a huge loss. He's a left tackle, and the things just keep on getting worse for the Jets.
David Johnson makes strong case for Offensive Player of the Year. David Johnson's 1,112 yards from scrimmage leads the NFL and accounts for nearly 40% of the Cardinals' offense.
He's unbelievable. This guy can do it all.
Aaron Rodgers hopes, quote, as a country, we can now come together after election. The Packers quarterback didn't reveal who he voted for, but said it's time for Americans to, quote, figure out how to work with each other.
Yeah, it's funny because the Packers can't work with each other.
Sherman calls Carpenter's wife's apology, quote, BS. Kayla Carpenter, wife of Bills kicker Dan Carpenter, tweeted an apology Wednesday over a tweet saying Richard Sherman should be castrated. Sherman called it, quote, a BS apology.
I hate Richard Sherman.
Jets Richardson on benching, quote, a hard lesson. Jets defensive linemen Sheldon Richardson and Muhammad Wilkerson have acknowledged they were disciplined for tardiness, with Wilkerson also confirming he skipped the walkthrough on October 22nd.
And they were going to do a birthday thing for him, and he missed that as well. So
Bengals coach Lewis quells talk of lineup shuffle. After Bengals defensive coordinator Paul Gunther said last week he expected to give some of the younger defenders more playing time, Coach Marvin Lewis appeared to squash that notion Wednesday.
Yeah, I think we just talked about that, but we'll see what happens.
Bucks wide receiver Evans cleared from concussion protocol. Bucks wide receiver Mike Evans has been cleared from the concussion protocol and has been cleared to play Sunday.
Mike Evans is one of the most talented receivers in the league. Doesn't get a lot of press because he's never fully healthy and he's down in Tampa Bay.
Dolphins bolster D-line activate Mitchell from IR. The Dolphins activated Earl Mitchell from injured reserve, adding fresh legs to Miami's defensive line.
That's going to help them. This is an up-and-coming Miami team that's been playing great. I'm happy for Adam Gase.
Kaepernick, I didn't vote, pay attention to result. Niners quarterback Colin Kaepernick said he didn't vote or pay attention to Tuesday's presidential election results, adding that for him, it, quote, didn't really matter who went in there.
He's a fucking idiot.
Belichick says letter to Trump not political. Patriots coach Bill Belichick says the letter he sent to Donald Trump was not political.
I read some, it's awesome. I love Bill Belichick.
Doug Baldwin disheartened, disappointed by election result. The presidential vote didn't go the way Doug Baldwin hoped. The Seahawks wide receiver, who's been active in the community, hopes for productive dialogue.
Wah, wah, wah.
Decision on Kirk Cousins' future remains cloudy after 8 games. The final 8 games of the season will not only decide the Redskins' playoff fate, but likely Kirk Cousins' future in Washington.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this guy's had a couple of years now. He's just been very inconsistent. Plays well in spurts and then doesn't play well in other spurts. That Washington team really can never really get a solid win streak going.
Jets Bowles won't heed outcry to start Petty. Jets coach Todd Bowles bristled Thursday when asked repeated questions about why he won't give quarterback Bryce Petty a chance to start.
I don't know why he's not giving him a shot. I think Todd Bowles is out in New York.
Mike Prefer says kicker tryouts, quote, lit a fire under Blair Walsh. Blair Walsh was, quote, ticked off when the Vikings tried out 6 kickers this week, which is just what his coaches wanted.
Yeah, we'll see if that can help him.
Jay Cutler, I've supported Donald Trump for a while. Bears quarterback Jay Cutler voiced his support on Thursday for President-elect Donald Trump. Quote, I'm happy with the election results, Cutler said.
I really like Jay Cutler now. I never knew he was a Trump guy, but I'm a Trump guy, so Kudos to Jay Cutler.
Eagles have been hit with a, quote, very rare schedule challenge. Philadelphia's meeting with the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday will mark the 4th consecutive game the Eagles have played a team on extra rest.
Yeah, that sucks, but too bad.
And, let's see. Yep, so that's that. So let's go right to the scores. Last week, you went 5, 6, and 2.
Yeah.
So you're at 59% for the year.
Correct.
Let's go right on into what we got going on. Obviously, the Cleveland game, you would have taken Cleveland. You would have lost. Correct. All right. Cleveland has the ball at their 1 with 4 minutes left. They're down 28-7. But anyways, we'll go to Sunday. We'll go right to Packers-Titans. Packers on the road, favored by 2.5. You don't have to go into explanation on because we're running out of battery.
Titans plus the points.
Titans plus the points. Vikings minus 2.5 over the Redskins on the road.
Washington.
Or, excuse me, Washington's minus 2.5.
Washington minus the points.
All right, Bears and Buccaneers. Chicago on the road, favored by 1.
Bucks plus 1.
Chiefs and Panthers. Carolina at home, favored by 3.
Chiefs plus 3.
Falcons at the Eagles. Atlanta on the road, favored by 2.
Eagles plus 2.
Rams at Jets. Jets at home, favored by 1.5.
Rams plus 1.5.
Broncos at Saints. New Orleans at home, favored by 3.
Broncos plus 3.
Texans at Jaguars. Jacksonville at home, favored by 2.
Houston.
Dolphins at Chargers. San Diego at home, favored by 4. That's the first 4:05 game.
San Diego.
And then the 4:25 game, you got Cowboys in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at home, favored by 2.5.
Cowboys plus 2.5.
49ers at Arizona. Arizona at home, favored by 13.5.
Arizona minus 13.5.
Seahawks at New England at the Sunday night game. New England at home, favored by 7.5.
Seattle plus 7.5.
And then Monday night's game, Bengals in New York. It's even.
The Giants.
Correct. Giants, yeah. So the bye week, you have the Bills, Lions, Colts, and Raiders. Let's go right to our picks. You got Packers, Titans. Who do you got?
Titans.
Okay, I'm going to go with Green Bay. They're coming off terrible losses. Green Bay and Tennessee for you. All right, Vikings, Redskins.
Redskins.
I'm going to take Minnesota.
Coming after me, huh?
Yep. Bears, Buccaneers.
Bucks.
I'm going to take Chicago. Now, before we go into the rest of these, last week, just to give everybody an idea, Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome went 9-4. CV Gunn went 7-6. Thomas Everett Patrick Brady Jr. went 9-4. Vadix went 7-6. So the standings in first place, Thomas Everett Patrick Brady Jr. 82, 48, and 2. In second place, Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome at 78, 52, and 2. 4 games out. Third place, CV Gunn 74, 56, and 2. 8 games out. Last place, Vadix 66, 64, and 2. 16 games out. All 4 of you ended up beating Mclovin, who went 6-7 last week. I also went 9-4. I am now only 3 games behind Mclovin. Thomas Everett Patrick Brady Jr. is 2 games ahead of Mclovin for the overall lead. Mclovin is 80, 50, and 2. I am 77, 53, and 2. Now, let's go right on into it. Chiefs, Panthers.
Chiefs.
Okay, I will also take Kansas City. Falcons, Eagles.
Eagles.
I'm going to take Atlanta. Rams, Jets.
Rams.
No. I'm going to take the Jets. This is going to basically settle what the fuck's going on here. Broncos, Saints.
Broncos.
I'm going to take New Orleans. Texans, Jaguars.
Texans.
Okay. Dolphins, Chargers.
Chargers.
Okay. Cowboys, Steelers.
Cowboys.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh. 49ers, Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yep. And you picked Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Seahawks, Pats.
Pats.
Okay. And then we have
Giants.
Bengals, Giants. I'm going to take Cincinnati.
Oh, boy. What is that, like 7?
So let's see. We got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5, we got 6, we got 7, we got 8.
Wow.
I'm 3 games out, so if I go 5-3, we're tied. If I go 4-4, we're I'm only a game out. So guys, thanks for watching Fantasy Football with Mclovin. We did not have time for EDP on the show. We quickly got it done. So guys, again, Sunday, get your picks in before Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's when game time is. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the delay, and hopefully it will never happen again. And what the fuck just happened there? Cleveland was at the ball was tipped up in the air at the 1. Oh, it fell. It was incomplete. All right. Thanks for watching.
See.